Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our online 6th PMAP CEBU GMM in partnership with IntelliCare. We will start our membership meeting in 5 minutes or so. So for the meantime, we are showing you a video for the upcoming virtual activities of our PMAP CEBU and some few reminders for this afternoon. Okay. Yes. Okay. Again, welcome to our GMM this afternoon. Before we start, let us spend a moment in prayer. And after that, we shall be singing the Philippine National Anthem, followed by the PMAP hymn, and last, the playing of the AVP of our omnibus sponsor, IntelliCare.
kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, pero sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Upang hinirang, tuyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka masisingil, sa nagagang tulog sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinanang tulang awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iinit, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may magdidinig. Lumalang araw ng walang pansin ka, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang hindi kaya ng pagkaibang amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. We pledge our loyalty to PMAP, upholding mass respect and dignity, promoting closer ties and harmony, to keep our stand of unity. We believe in a law for a strong economy. We believe in the role industry. We seek for guidance to our PMAP when problems come of management and land. Nowhere to keep the faith and trust that we have of our fellow man. Nowhere to keep the faith and trust that we have of our fellow man.
The challenges of life demand that we measure up. And that's a fact IntelliCare understands and takes seriously. IntelliCare understands that the cycle of healthcare begins when you're healthy. Because we see the big picture and approach healthcare holistically, we make it possible for you to stay well, prevent illness, or catch it early on. It assures you that when you do need it, professional medical care and treatment will be available. So you can take comfort in the fact that we're managing the resources and cost of quality healthcare. Technology makes it possible for us to serve a wider base of customers online, day and night, so that we can focus on improving the numbers that really matter to us. The numbers that track your health, that drive down the cost of quality healthcare, that show you're in the best of health, so that you can strike a healthy balance in life. A balance that's critical and necessary for a life well lived, something we recognize and fully understand.
We are the leader in healthcare management because of a delicate balance we've achieved through the years. We're grounded on our core value of compassion, yet daring enough to make groundbreaking changes. We take pride in the tradition of excellence, yet always open to innovation. We're anchored in our commitment to the Filipino people, yet unfettered as we reach out to serve them better. And why do we do this? Because we believe that good, quality healthcare isn't something one simply aspires for. It is a constitutional right as inalienable as any other basic human right.
IntelliCare, your intelligent health choice.
Thank you so much, IntelliCare. Without your sponsorship, without your partnership, our virtual activity this afternoon would not have been possible. Okay, to our participants today, our attendees, you have made a very good decision for some very good reasons to be around in our JMM. For one, we shall be learning from an acknowledged expert on the topic, so relevant at the time, and that is nurturing people and business with principles of payment during the pandemic crisis. Now, on to our program proper. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the PMAP Cebu President for the call to order and the President's time.
It's my time. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. With the presence of 2020 board and chairs, the immediate past president, members and guests, I now call this meeting to order. And I will just give a very short update because I will be using the portion of my president's time for inducting the new members. Okay, last September 8th, we were able to successfully run a spiritual wellness webinar during Mama Mary's birthday. It was titled Love Will See You Through Amidst Crisis with Father Andre, and it was moderated by Mr. Bobot Kodoy Abseda. It was followed by another webinar by Michelle Garcia last September 18 about disruptions in this time of crisis, and it was moderated by past President Mike Godinez. Then this GMM, which is a preload of the regional conference. And we are so blessed to have attorney JBJ, and hopefully he will really extend more love to us, which it will be announced by the program chair. So I will not touch that part anymore. Uh, and then this will also be followed. We still have one more webinar with Sir Neil, leading change and managing transition, which I think we also have to, it's really a practice about change, Kay. We might be changing again the schedule due to the due to the signal disruption. So we will get in touch with you. We will announce about that one later. Also, allow me to take this opportunity to invite you for the regional conference. I hope you will really support this one because part of the proceeds will be a second wave for our frontliners SR. Okay, so with that, we will proceed to the induction of the members. And in behalf, but before that, in behalf of PMAP Cebu 2020 officers, I welcome you all to this sixth general membership meeting. Good afternoon. And may I also call Sir Neil, the chair for membership, to officially introduce our new members. Sir Neil.
Thank you, President Grace. Can
You're
we
welcome.
show their faces now on screen? Thank you. We were supposed to induct 3 new members today. Unfortunately, one of them would not be able to come in and do a virtual induction. Our all right. Can
Change
you
apparatus.
okay, so we were supposed to induct 3, but the first one on screen would not be able to come in, so we'll have the 2. Our first new member on the individual membership category is the HR and operations manager of Mactan Warehousing and Logistics Incorporated, an outsourced manpower services company. She is a people manager in her many different roles in the company that she grew up with, NEC Celistica HPUI company. Please help me warmly welcome Engineer Elena Besinga Gilas. May we ask Engineer Gilas to turn on your audio and video? All right. The second member that who will be inducted today, also in the under the individual membership category, is the Commission on Election Officer. First time to have individual membership like that, no? Of Karkar City, the Comelec officer of Karkar City. He is also an electrical engineer by profession, as well as engineer Gilas here is also mga engineers karong hapuna. The one introducing is also an engineer. Today, he will join the rare lineup of lawyers in PMAP who are PMAP Cebu, who are practicing people managers in PMAP Cebu. Please help me welcome Attorney Chauncey Boyd D. Boholst. May we ask Dr. Attorney Boyd to turn on your audio and video?
Please open.
All right.
Yes.
President Grace, yours.
Okay, let's proceed. Okay, may I request the new members to please raise your right hand and kindly repeat after me for oath of membership. Let's start. I,
I,
kindly
Elena,
please name
Chauncey Boholst,
Elena Bisinga Gilas,
as the kindly state your position
as the operations and HR manager of
representing my company. Please state the name of your company.
representing my company, Mactan Warehousing and Logistics Services Incorporated,
representing
Recognize.
Yours Industries
Yes.
Philippines Incorporated.
Okay. Recognize and accept
Recognize and
recognize and
accept
accept
the responsibility
the
incumbent upon me
responsibility incumbent upon me
the responsibility
members
incumbent
of
upon
people-
me as member of
as
people,
members of People Management Association of the Philippines Cebu chapter.
as members of
as
the
member
People
of the People
Management
Management
Association
Association of the Philippines
Cebu
Cebu chapter.
I pledge to actively participate
I pledge
I pledge
to
to
actively
actively participate
in the activities by the association
in the
activities
activities initiated by the association,
to share my knowledge with other members
to share my
to share my knowledge with
members,
other members,
and to accept leadership position if and when required.
and to
and
accept
to accept leadership
leadership
position
position if and
if
when
and when
required.
required.
As a PMAPper,
As a
As a
PMAPper,
PMAPper,
I pledge to observe and maintain
I
I
pledge to
pledge
observe
to
and
observe and
maintain
maintain
high standard of performance
high
high
standard of
standard of
performance
performance
and the practice of HR profession,
and the
in the
practice
practice
of
of
HR
HR
profession,
profession,
and to uphold and protect
and to uphold
and to uphold and protect
the principles and mission
the
the principles
principles
and
and
mission
mission
for which the association was founded.
for which the
for which
association
the
was
association
founded.
was founded.
I solemnly swear
I solemnly
I
swear
solemnly swear
to perform my duties and obligations
to, per- to
to perform my
duties
duties and obligations
faithfully and conscientiously,
faithfully and
faithfully and
conscientiously,
conscientiously,
with selfless zeal and dedication.
with
with
selfless zeal and
selfless
dedication.
zeal and
Help me
dedication.
God.
So help me God.
At this point in time, may I request the present board, if you can please open your cameras, and may I also request the members who are here to please extend your right hand to our new member as we express our pledge of support to our new members. And kindly repeat after me for the pledge of support. We, the member of PMAP Cebu Inc.,
To members of
PMAP
PMAP Cebu Inc.
pledge to support our association
pledge to support our association
and our new members
and our new members
in our joint quest for excellence
in our joint quest for excellence,
to extend our helping hand
to extend our helping hand
so that the objectives and the programs
so that the objectives and the programs
that our association endeavors to accomplish can be achieved.
that our association endeavors to accomplish can be achieved,
and to make your new membership
and to make your new membership
a rewarding and a fulfilling experience.
a rewarding and fulfilling experience.
Okay, thank you so much and congratulations.
Welcome.
Thank you everyone for your support.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, welcome to PMAP.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And for membership, thank you, Sir Neil. And thank you also, Sir Ian. And back to you, Sir Mac.
Okay. Warm welcome to our new members. We are happy to welcome you to PMAP CEBU. Okay, this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, we have allotted significant time for the update on the regional conference or RC20. So we are happy that it's forthcoming, and to update us is the program chair, Mr. Jovinar Bataykan.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Sir Maki. And thank you, everyone. It's not only forthcoming, it's actually fifth coming and sixth coming. And I'm the RC20 mascot, and I would like to invite all of you to join us. Last count, we were only aiming for how many? 100? Very conservative, because this is the very first time that we're going full virtual. And I know that a lot of people are still adjusting, but we have a very determined and committed RC team and the PMAP board. So they really pushed for this, and it's happening on October 7 to 9. And I'm here to go through very quickly about the regional conference. And my last check is that we've gone beyond 100, our conservative estimate. We have inched to 200, which is actually our wish. It's on the wish list. And it's at 197 right now. So we had 3 more new members. So now we're going to go to 200. So if you join us this afternoon, it will be very much a blessing for the organization as well, and for you, for those who are attending. This is brought to you by PMAP CEBU. And this is co-presented by Cebu General Services Incorporated. Thank you, Ma'am Grace Iligan. Virginia Food Incorporated. Thank you, Ma'am Ninette Mantalaba. And of course, Phil Insure. It is also co-presented by none other than Intellicare, Atlas Corporation, and of course, Avega. And we are going to have our virtual stage right there at Seda Hotel. So it's going to happen again, October 7 to 9. And it's going to be the first all virtual regional conference and the third Visayan Summit. And I just like to go through our keynote speakers. Our keynote speakers have been invited because of their insights. It's not just purely Asia practice, but a diversity of insights, especially during these times. Our opening keynote is Ms. Karen Davila, and she will talk about HR and Frozen, the power of clarity, self-mastery, and letting go. At the other end of the keynote is, of course, Mr. Francis Kong. He will talk about people management in a new world order and something to believe in. I try to dissect the key elements of our theme for this year. The first one is about clarity. At this point in time, with everything is considered as an actual reset, it's time to look at the role of HR management once again in a very clearer medium. And here, when we talk about clarity, our first topic is by Mr. Day Lee, and he will talk about redesigning the talent attraction and retention experience. We really still have to attract the best talents, despite the fact that a lot of people are losing their jobs, and actually people are leaving their jobs because of the situations in the work environment. So that's our opening, and it's part of clarity. From daily, we go to monthly, and that's me. I'll be talking about milestoning, how to crisis-proof your HR career, and it's the early morning session. So clarity comes first. Next is self-mastery. Under self-mastery, we talk about skills that needed to be upgraded with focus on mindfulness. And this is the ultimate battle to stay in the here and now. Our speaker is from Malaysia. He's based in Malaysia right now, Dr. Frederick Bohost. And I'm not sure if our attorney Chauncey Bohos is related to Dr. Frederick. So I hope they are. And it will also be with Nikki Abilia of Rada Consulting. She will talk about reimagining the internal customer experience. Miss Abilia is very much into external customer experience, and to tailor fit that to the way we should be handling our own people, just as they are our customers. As a reminder, at this time, employees first, customers next. After self-mastery, we will be talking about letting go. Here, the concept of letting go is not about leaving somebody or going away. It's not about the romantic link. It may be about letting go of things that HR should not be doing anymore. We have a lot of things that are pulling us down to make us, we're making us less strategic and more reactive. Letting go is about delegating very important tasks. But more importantly, letting go is about committing to something and giving yourself away with the whole heart and soul. Plenary 4 is about people engagement in the time of masks and physical distancing. Minchu Dicena will also be speaking. She's from Chonghua Hospital, classmate of mine. Also, Dr. Frederick Balls was a classmate of mine. That's the reason why I passed college, because I cheated. I copied from both of them. Plenary 6 is about leadership. Why is the remote control malfunctioning in the post-pandemic workplace? Our speaker is Mr. Drew Fernandez, and he's from the Coca-Cola Company. He's very young and very influential, an upcoming people manager in these days, and you have to listen to Mr. Drew Fernandez. And by the way, our president, Grace Iligan, mentioned that we would like to extend an invitation to our speaker today, Attorney Josephus Jimenez, and I hope he will be able to join us for RC20. And we'll be talking to him, of course, offline, so that we can talk about what is the best topic for him. And I know you will learn more from him as we move along. And again, another attraction for RC20. The next question is, does your team have what it takes? Our very first all virtual fellowship. And this is going to be patterned after The Voice, and this is about team exercises, the blind audition for talents projecting potentials. We have a panel of judges. We have Sir Michael Godinez of RAFI. We also have Julia Robilios, an image and branding consultant, and of course, Mr. Jesse Bustillo, a management consultant, who will join us, and they will try to make it so challenging for our group contestants, and all of you will participate. HR is also being aware about so many things. And HR Woke is all about our involvement, not just awareness, but involvement. And here we talk about the critical role of HR in the social transformation initiative, focusing on 4 critical areas. First one is unemployment. Second, family preparedness. Third, employee activism, as we have so many employees right now, so vocal and so active in social media, trying to air their grievances or their side or their insights. Can they be damaging to the organization? We'll find out. And we'll talk about local governance influence. Our speakers, we've invited a very solid lineup of panelists for HR Woke, starting off with Mr. Chris Kamba of Boites Equity Ventures Incorporated. And I'd like to say hi to Mamroda Castro Caliwara, Executive Judicial Services Incorporated, and the National President of PulseCon. I think she's here with us this afternoon. So good afternoon, Mamroda. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We also have the Vice President of PMAP National, Ms. Angelina Muki, and she's also the HR Director of FINMA, Vice President of FINMA. And of course, our very own from MEPS, from Timex Philippines, we have Santana Christian Vaidiswaran, and he's going to be, and all 4 will be moderated by one of ours again, from Seda Hotel, Mr. Bobot Kodoy. So we have a very solid lineup. And as I round up, HR is not just woke, HR is very woke. As mentioned before, part of the proceeds will go to a charitable organization supporting the fight against COVID-19. So you're not just helping PMAP, not helping yourself, but also you're helping others. And finally, PMAP loves DTI. And before that, I'd like to of course, encourage you again that aside from that, you will also get your total bag. And we're going to be starting shipping these bags very soon. It comes with your wellness kit and, of course, a copy of the book, Finding Mr. HRD. See, it's quite full. And all that for a DTI-friendly price of 2,500 pesos. We've frozen the rate. So again, with all of those things happening, you're not just helping ourselves. We're not just helping ourselves by learning very important things. We're also helping PMAP through these times, and of course, helping others. So thank you so much, and I hope that all of you will be there for HR Unfrozen. That's going to be on October 7 to 9. It happens to be also the third Visayan Summit. So let's come together. It's time. Register now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jovenir. Everybody is excited to attend our forthcoming, fifth coming, sixth coming regional conference. Okay, so before we go to the highlight of the afternoon's membership meeting, may I request everyone to please indicate in the chat box your name and your company's name so that we can acknowledge you accordingly later. Is that a deal? So I hope so. Again, we request our dear attendees to indicate your name and your company in the chat box so that we can acknowledge you later. Okay, this time around, please allow me sufficient time to introduce our resource person because he deserves nothing less. We are privileged today to have a pure-blooded Cebuano. He graduated magna cum laude, his laws, from the University of the Visayas. And despite the fact that he was a working student, working at the same time studying, he passed the bar exam with a rating of 84.93 with no pre-bar review. Take note. And he was closest to the 10th place because the 10th place got 85%. Sayang. But at any rate, our speaker is the former labor arbiter. At the age of 26, he was considered the youngest in the whole Philippines that time. And maybe also up to this time. He was a labor attaché to 3 countries like and our speaker is also the Undersecretary of DOLE with no political backing and decided more than 77,000 cases in 1 year. And during his time, he did not have additional personnel. He is also a known speaker in international forums and conventions, like he has spoken in Geneva, Switzerland, Tokyo, Japan, Yogyakarta, Indonesia, Honolulu, LA, San Francisco, and New York, Beijing and Hong Kong and Qatar, Kuwait, Dubai, Bahrain, and many other countries, actually more than 20. And what else? He is the author of 24 HR and labor law books, 6 of which were finished during the COVID lockdown. He is a law professor and bar reviewer in UST, San Beda, Hold Your Breath, UE, CEU, FEU, San Sebastian. And added to that, He is also teaching or holding bar reviews in about 10 review centers. He was born in Argao, and his parents are pure Cebuanos, uh, coming from Dumanhog, his father and his mother from Ronda. So that's what makes him a true-blooded Cebuano. Um, our speaker is married with 5 children, and this time around he has also 5 grandchildren. He is a Knight of Columbus member, a lay minister, a devoted Catholic and Christian who visited the Holy Land thrice, Rome for 4 times, and traveled to Fatima Lourdes, Medjugorje. A well-traveled person, he has been to about 121 countries in all the continents. And last but not the least, very familiar to us, he was our national president of PMAP in 2014. It was during his term that the national conference attendance reached more than 2,000 and a net income of 25 million, unequaled in the history of PMAP, even up to this time. Ladies and gentlemen, I am referring to no less than Attorney Josephus B. Jimenez. Hi, Attorney Jimenez, good afternoon.
Maayong hapon o daghang salamat sa imuhang pag-introduce sa garbo o kalipay
Lagi
nako nga invite ninyo dito sa PMAP General Membership Meeting. If you will
Right.
allow me now to
Yes, yes, Attorney. Everybody is excited to listen to your lecture this afternoon. Take it away. Thank you very much.
okay, I am very happy to take note that IntelliCare is supporting this organization from so many years before until now. IntelliCare is with us. I'm also happy to take note that one of the new members is from the COMELEC, from Karkar. And I'm very happy and expect that our organization would be more active in recruiting from government, because during my time, it was the first time in the history of PMAP that we awarded public officials as People of the Year. I remember that in 2014, I had the honor to award then Mayor Michael Lopez Rama. Mike Rama was my student in the College of Law in 1977. Of course, he is older than me, but he was my student, and I am proud to be his professor. And the Board of Judges, led by then Secretary Sani Coloma, awarded the People Manager of the Year to a government official, and that is Attorney Mike Rama. So I'm also happy that your president, Dr. Grace Iligan, PhD, a very brilliant lady, dynamic, and very action-oriented, passionate. I hope that he will continue to recruit from government, not just from COMELEC, because we have to help the bureaucracy to share the insights, the experience, the passion of people manager from the private sector. I hope that Attorney Bohols our new member from Comelec, together with the lady engineer, Engineer Gilas, will continue to be active in our organization because PMAP is the new frontliners. PMAP, HR, and people managers today are the new frontliners because in us, the business community is relying too much, and we have the skills, we have the knowledge, we have the vision to be an instrument of change in these times of difficulties. So today, I come here. Thank you for inviting me. I come here with 5 objectives. First is to help the HR community define the new reality. Next, to present options for compliance with law without compromising the viability of our business. Number 3, to assure the survival of our business organizations and this survival should be without prejudice to the right of the workers to exist and to receive what are due them. We should not comply and we should not do business with violation of laws. We should always remember that one of our objectives is social responsibility. So today I will try to manage my time. Because one of our problems in many events is time management. Because I was invited to speak for 2 hours and a half, but now since we are now almost 3 o'clock, I'll try my best that we to make it sure that there will be more time for question and answer portion. So I will start. I have prepared a lot of menu for you, but I will only be able to deliver the first 2. Creative compliance in the payment of wages and benefits. And number 2, leveraging on the alternative work arrangement as our mechanism to survive during the pandemic. I have prepared myself before coming here. I have 45 years of experience in HR, and you might not realize that in the history of PMAP since 1956, there has only been one PMAP national president from Cebu. There has always been one. So I dream that someday Dr. Grace Iligan be considered as a future national president so that the Cebuanos, our talent, our dynamism, our energy, and our action orientation can be utilized on the national level. I'm very happy that Madam Ruda Kaliwara is here with us in PulseCon, and I hope that some PMAP national officers are also here this afternoon to witness how Cebuanos, once again, during that time, alam na nila lahat yun, even during the time of Madam Ninette Mantalaba and all the pillars of the Cebu PMAP, iba talaga ang Cebu PMAP. Iba talaga. It's a different kind of people. No? And so, it was not mentioned that I also work here in San Miguel Corporation in the national office, Pepsi Cola, and also Petron. But in my earlier years, after passing the bar, I became a lawyer of the biggest copper mine in Asia, Atlas Mining, but only for a very short time because the president called me and appointed me as labor arbiter in 1977. So today I will share with you the topic, nurturing people and business during the pandemic crisis. o ako ning gibidisaya pag-amuma sa katawhan sa atong negosyo sa panahon sa kalisod, no? Kung dunay naminaw nako nga wala kasabot sa Cebuano, kung dunay naminaw nga mga dili ingon nato, doon na ba naminaw nga dili ingon nato, pasensya na lang sila nga dili sila kasabot sa akong mga isaysay karong hapuna. So the 5 competencies of the HR in the light of the COVID-19. Alam niyo bakit ang HR talaga, of all the functions in the organization, ang HR talaga ang laging inaasahan. Ang HR talaga, pag merong trabahong bago, ang HR gyud ang gisaligan. Kay ang HR naa diha nagpahipi ang mga tao nga mga utukan, mga tao nga mga aktibo, nga dili mo balibad sa mga responsibilidad. So ang una, competency of HR, mastery of what are happening in the whole world today. So in your regional conference, no, I hope that you will not forget to define the macro events that are shaping the world today, because these events will have an impact on our local business environment. Like these political and geopolitical pressures in the South China Sea, it will affect our economy, and necessarily it will affect the business as well as the employment situation in our country. And then number 2, competency. You have the competence in redesigning work aligned with the 4 components. I will share with you the 4 components of organizational justice, my advocacy. Number 3, compliance with the provision of law and regulations. You must be an expert now of compliance. After a series of inspections, by this time, you will know what are allowed and what are not allowed. No? Number 4, reconciling business and people. Now, HR is not just an instrument of business to maximize profit. We have to take care of the people because nobody else will take care of these people. Excellence in communication and promoting harmony based on justice. Now, I was asked this morning, we have a webinar this morning, mga napagaw-pagaw ko, ang nainangutanan ako, what are the 4 things that an employee would demand or expect from management? Do you hear me loud and clear, Mr. Maki? Mr. Maki, can you hear me? Because I want to know if there is no problem with the sound system.
Yes, attorney.
Clear.
Okay. Just text me if there are problems, no? Okay, this morning I was asked, ano ba yung apat na mga requirements ng isang empleyado if they want to join the company? Ang unang requirement is clarity of purpose. Anyan, tamang-tama doon sa regional conference nyo. Clarity of purpose. Second is sufficient cash. Cash is KASH. Knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. You have to empower your people with sufficient cash. And the third is total rewards that ERM. Yung total rewards nyo is ERM. Ano yung ERM? Attract, retain, and motivate. Your total rewards, not just the monetary rewards, can attract people, can really retain people, and motivate people. And then lastly, anong kailangan ng tao? There must be an organizational justice. At kung may panglima man ng kailangan ng tao, it is they need to know what is their future in the company. They need to know na may career path ba ako, meron ba akong papupuntahan, may ladder ba ako na masasampahan. So these are the 5 things that you need in an organization. First, clarity of purpose. Next is enough cash. Third is rewards that attract, retain, and motivate. And lastly, there must be organizational justice and also a future in the organization. Because whatever you do, it's our people. You are the one entrusted with the 4 missions. First is talent acquisition. Bring in the best to the organization. Second is total rewards. Third is organizational justice. What you call before labor relations, employee relations, industrial relations, these are all integrated now, and it is called organizational justice. And the last is learning and development and career management that will give you a future in the organization and in the business community. Okay? So we have to respect the rights of employees. We have to uphold the prerogative of management. We have to have a balanced government policy, and we must have an HR that is just and humane. Makatarungan at makatao. Ang mga HR dili mga tao nga manaog-daog, dili tao nga mobayulit sa balaod, dili mga tao nga manglimbong sa sweldo, kundi mga tao nga espirituhanon, mga tao nga adunay pag respeto sa dignidad sa tao ug sa iyang mga katungod, no? The HR people are the new frontliners because we have the brains, we have the heart, we have the conscience, we have the vision, and we have the strength. The brains to create solutions to problems, the heart to balance work and feelings. We have the conscience. We can also balance between profit and honor. We have the vision. We can see the destination even before we embark on the journey. And we have the strength. We can transform our dreams into concrete results. We are the new frontliners. The HR are the new frontliners because we are existing in a book of its volatile, unpredictable, complicated, ambiguous, and fast, intense, digital, and sneaky world. So we have to operate with a great capability for resilience, mobility. We have to be always agile, and we have to be able to surf over the rising waves of changes that are happening every minute of our life. Because the coronavirus is, we are facing a crisis of ruthless, obnoxious, notorious, abominable virus, Corona-19. So we have to master all these things because the people are looking at us and we must present solution. So today we have other imperatives, but before I give these imperatives, I will now proceed to the topic on what are the principles, no? The principles that should govern wages and benefits. The first principle, we have to go back to basic. The wage orders prescribed by the regional tripartite board apply to all. You know, that is my advocacy, that we have to change our wage system. But as of today, whether you are a giant as big as San Miguel conglomerate or you are a small spa or a small business, micro enterprise, the same minimum wage apply to you. So I am happy to share with you that a Cebuano lawyer was engaged by Congress to write an amendment to the Labor Code of the Philippines. And that Cebuano is yours truly. I have been appointed by Congress as on a project basis to rewrite the Labor Code from Book 1 to Book 7, from hiring to retiring. And maybe that is our mechanism to transition into the new reality, because 1974 vintage of Labor Code, at the time when the Labor Code was promulgated, there was no cell phone, there was no laptop, there was no Wi-Fi. It was a totally different world. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you, the HR people, you are using a weapon that is vintage 1974 to fight a warfare of a 21st century of the new millennium. That's why we are not able to compete with Singapore. We are not able to compete with other economies like Malaysia. And yet the Filipino people are more brilliant. We have more knowledge on many things, and yet we are left behind. Why? One of the reasons is that we are using a labor code that is so anti-development. Can you imagine a wage system that will apply to all kinds of employees, even if you have only 10 employees or you have 10,000 employees? The same labor code will apply. And our regionalized system is no longer attuned to the realities. We should have a labor code that will segmentize the companies. We cannot operate a micro or a small enterprise, or we cannot operate a medium enterprise of company if we cannot, if our means, no, how can we survive if we use a labor code that does not respect the different levels of capability? So the first principle that I'm going to share with you is that we will have to comply with a wage system that is too difficult to carry. And then later on, I will connect this with the other principles, like the next principle, the principle of limited exemption. There is a small window by which a BIMBI or a barangay micro enterprise can be exempted from compliance with minimum wage at a time of crisis. But the exemption is not automatic. You have to apply, and this application will be heard by a tripartite body where the union is represented, where management is represented, and where government is represented by three agencies: the DOLE as chair, the NEDA, and the DTI as vice chair. So the door and the window for exemption is very small. The labor code that I'm going to create will give a lot of flexibility for startup business, for businesses that are not as big as the giants, the conglomerates, the multinationals, the global brands. The same law are applicable to them. So I make a segmentation. That number 3 principle, and this is the principle of no work, no pay. Now, when your when you are operating an outsourcing company like Cebu Gen, one of the best in the whole Philippines, managed by President Grace Iligan. If one of your clients, a principal, is not able to operate during a time of crisis, and your people cannot report for work, of course, the principle of no work, no pay applies. So, this principle is well established in labor jurisprudence, and it is not the fault of the agency if the employee is not able to earn his wage during a time when he is not rendering work. So, the different advisories issued by the DOLE has given us some alternative work arrangements whereby the employees will be given somehow amelioration and help and assistance during the time of difficulties like this. The fourth principle is the principle of criminal liability. This is something that not all of you perhaps might have remembered, no? If I may say so with your respect. Do you know that it is a criminal offense if your company violates the minimum wage? If your company, either by willful intent or by the reckless imprudence of your payroll assistant, if your company do not pay or does not pay the correct minimum wage applicable, the president of the company, the general manager, can be prosecuted for violation of Republic Act 8188. And there is a penalty of imprisonment of not less than 2 years, nor more than 4 years, or fine. Well, there's no problem with the fine, but if you are convicted, you are an HR manager and you will go to jail because of non-payment of minimum wage, your career, you are destroyed. Your life is destroyed and your career is jeopardized, and you will no longer be able to continue to practice your profession because you are going to be in prison. Can you imagine that? And so, towards the end of my presentation, I will have some solution to this so that we will not go into this possibility. Aside from the criminal liability, there is also the principle of double indemnity. If the labor inspectors would come to your company and they will find out that there is an underpayment in the amount of 500,000 pesos total, you will be asked to pay double that amount. That is on top of the imprisonment and the fine. Aside from the fact that the guilty party will be imprisoned or made to pay fine, the company will have to double the obligation that is due and demandable to the employees. Can you imagine? That's why we have to be very serious about inspection. Sixth principle, the principle of criminal liability imposable on corporate officers. So, ang mapriso, ang mabilanggo, dili ang payroll assistant, dili ang payroll master, ang mapriso ang mga corporate officers, ang mga partners sa negosyo, ang general manager, ang president. O can you imagine? Sakit ng kalingkingan, sakit ng buong katawan, ang mabibilanggo ang mga dagko ng mga opisyal sa kumpanya, ang nakasala ang mga gagmay, pero command responsibility, you must be able to detect that there is problem in your organization. So this is guilt by the lawyers would call this respondeat superior. And in military, it is called command responsibility. The commander takes responsibility for the errors and the crimes or the fault or the offenses committed by the subordinates. Kita mo? Number 7, principle, the BIMBI. Well, I told you already that if your total asset is not more than 5 million, no, excluding the land where your building is erected, if you can prove to the wage board that your total asset is not more than 5 million, you can qualify as a BIMBI, barangay micro business enterprise, and register yourself in accordance with law, and then you will go to the wage board to confirm your exemption. But your exemption is only for a limited time. It is not forever. Once you are given an exemption, and that exemption has a time limit, upon the expiration, you have to apply for another exemption. Number 8, the principle paid by results. No? Dinhi sa Cebu, we are famous for our furniture factories. No? In fact, I still remember in 1989, when I went to the US in Washington, D.C., I was then an officer of San Miguel Corporation. As part of my privileges as officer, I was allowed to travel for 1 month. That's why I was able to travel to more than 120 countries because of San Miguel Corporation for 12 years. No? So I went to Washington, D.C., and I saw in the pink room of the White House a very beautiful rattan chair, and it was made in Mandawi. So itong mga gumagawa ng mga furniture sa Mandawi, the owners of the factory are allowed by law not to pay daily minimum rate, but allowed to pay by piece or by pacquiao. But there must be a time and motion study. And I was asked in our seminar the other day, how do you compute the retirement pay of a person that is paid by result or by pacquiao? Well, the law is very clear. The average daily wage of that employee for the last 12 months, will be average, and that will be the basis for computing his separation pay in case of retrenchment, or in case of retirement. He will also be entitled even if he is paid by pacquiao or by itong tinatawag na by piece rate. Because there are HR managers, I am very sad to observe. They have become managers, but they have not even read the labor code. And some of them ask me, Attorney Jimenez, yun bang mga empleyadong mga piece rate, are they employees or are they independent contractors? Oh, meron din nagtanong sa akin, kana bang mga taxi driver, attorney, empleyado ba yan sa taxi operator? Hindi ba partner yan? Kasi hindi naman pinapasahod yan ng daily rate. So karamihan ng operator, hindi na yan binibigyan ng mga PhilHealth at Pag-ibig kasi partner naman yan. You know, when I was very young in 1976, when I was appointed by the President of the Philippines as labor arbiter, ako yung unang arbiter din sa Cebu nga nagdesisyon sa issue nga ang mga taxi driver ba empleyado ba na sa operator. So my answer is yes, they are employees. Ang depensa ng mga operator, they are not our employees, they are our partner because you know, if you read the Civil Code of the Philippines, partnership is defined as a contract whereby two or more persons agree to contribute money, industry, or property with the intention of dividing the profits among themselves. And they are claiming that the driver are the industrial partners and the operator is the capitalist partner. But when I cross-examine them during the question and answer from the labor arbiter, I asked them, if he is your partner, do you issue a memo to him if he is absent? And he answered yes. If he violates the policy, are you going to discipline him? The answer is yes. So he is not your partner. He is your employee because issuing of a memo or issuing of a disciplinary action is a sign of control. And when you control, there is employer-employee relationship. You do not discipline your partner. So by the fact that you discipline your driver, you are admitting that he is your employee. See? So you have to pay separation pay because he is your employee. And you have to cover him with SSS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig, and all the social legislation because in the eyes of the law, there is employer-employer relationship. Okay? Principle number 9, apprentice and learner. This morning, I gave a webinar, which is the law on training and development. And one of those is apprentice. Now, when you hire an apprentice, you have to negotiate with or deal with TESDA because the agency that now the agency that is in charge of regulating the apprenticeship program is the TESDA. Before it was the DOLE, there was a Bureau of Apprenticeship, but it was abolished and TESDA took over. So if you want to help in developing people by giving them skills and at the same time you save on cost, you use this learnership and apprenticeship. And also, I have also another news for you. As a survival mechanism during pandemic, I have a lecture this morning about the OJT program of the DOLE as well as the internship program of CHED. CHED has an internship program, and I have the template for the memorandum of agreement. The educational institutions, like my alma mater, Southwestern University for high school and AB, and UV Goliath Law School for my college, you can deal with them or other institutions like University of San Carlos, and you make agreement that the students, as requirement of the curriculum of CHED, there are courses that requires internship, and they can be working in your company for a limited period of time without compensation. But in the case of on-the-job training, a project of DOLE, Director Salome Siaton, who comes from Iloilo and who is the author of this, knows very well that there is an OJT program where you avail of the services of the students who are also studying, and they will learn the skills in a work environment as an supplementary component of the education system, not just classroom instruction, but exposing them to the environment of work without salary. but it's up to you. It's not demandable. You can give them allowance for transportation or free meals. But for OJT, there is an insurance. They have to be insured because if they met an accident while working in your office, they are not covered by SSS. They will be covered by insurance, like IntelliCare, the best insurance company that I know. So that means that the premium of the insurance will be paid by one half by the educational institution and one half by the company where he is working. So there are many ways by which you can save on labor costs. At the same time, you are helping the young people. They also learn from you. The 10th principle is the exemption from taxes. And maybe some of you may not be aware about taxation. I do not like this subject. This is one of the subject that I did not like when I took the bar. No? And taxation is a very difficult subject. But here it is provided that effective January 1, 2018, all employees who are receiving salaries, and there is a difference between a salary and a wage, by the way. If you do not know, I'll tell you later. This is what the law says. It is salaried individuals earning an annual compensation of 250,000 or below. They are exempted from paying income tax. So alam na ninyo ito, exemption ito eh. But the following income of monthly and wage earning employees, a minimum wage earning employees, MWE, minimum wage earning employees, are also exempted from income tax. And this includes income from minimum wage, income from cost of living allowance, income from holiday pay, from overtime pay, night shift differential, hazard pay, 13-month pay, productivity incentives, and Christmas bonus, not exceeding 90,000 pesos. So all this, total 250,000, you have to be exempted. A question. Somebody asked me a question. If an employee refuses a salary increase, here is a very unique situation. You want to give a salary increase to an employee because he deserves it. But the employee comes to you, Ma'am, please do not increase my salary because any increase is hazardous to me. Why? Because if you increase my salary, I will be beyond 250,000 pesos and I will have to pay taxes. I don't want to pay tax. You know, ladies and gentlemen, when I started working in 1969, I was just 19 years old. Can you imagine? I was 19 years old. I was still a student in Southwestern University. And our professor died in the middle of the semester. So the dean said, Josephus, you are going to graduate magna cum laude and you are a scholar of the university. I am asking you to take over all the classes of the professor who died. Can you imagine? I became a professor even before I got my diploma. That was in 1969. So I became a teacher. And by that time, there was no withholding tax. No withholding tax. Do you know what happened? I don't know if, you know, Dr. Grace Iligan is very young person compared to me. Maybe, I don't know about Ma'am Nanit Mantalaba, if he was already around in 1969. Maybe he was still in the elementary. But I was already 19 years old and I was I became a teacher in Southwestern. But I did not pay, there was no deduction because withholding tax was not yet a law in 1969. At the end of the year, you compute all your income, and then if you are exempted, you don't have nothing to pay, but you have to file the income tax return. If you have a taxable income, then you pay the tax at the end of the year. Not like now, when before you receive your salary, they will already get your tax. That was the time when the Secretary of Finance was Cesar Beratax. And the BIR commissioner was Ruben Anchitax. And the president was from Batax, Ilocosur. And the first lady was from Tacloban. That's why nagka-wataks tayo. Kaya ito ngayon, maganda itong balita because exempted ang mga 250,000 na mga minimum wage earner. Okay, di ba? Okay, equal pay for equal work. Magandang kwento pero this is a case that was decided by the Supreme Court. Itong mga faculty members sa international school doon sa Makati, no? Mga Pilipino, nagreklamo sila, nagtayo sila ng union, International Alliance of Filipino Educators. Kasi itong may-ari ng international school, they hired foreigners. They hired Spanish, Americans, French, Japanese, and they were paid three times more than the Filipino educators, and they are receiving they are performing the same functions. So, nag-file sila ng kaso. Ito naman si Honorable Leonardo Quisumbing na Bisaya din ito taga Masbate ito Siya ang Secretary of Labor. Ang sabi ni Quisumbing, ayaw lang magreklamo kamong mga Pilipino kay kaning mga tawhana, they were recruited from other countries, and to entice them, to attract them, they have to be paid higher salary. Kung ipariho lang sa inyong salary, they will not come. And an international school requires people like them. So the union, International Alliance of Educators, they went to the Supreme Court and asked the Supreme Court to nullify the decision of Secretary Quisumbing because it violates the Equal Protection Clause. What did the Supreme Court say? The Supreme Court said that Filipinos are already victims of discrimination when they are abroad. Shall we allow them to be victimized of discrimination when they are here in our own country? Parang napagalitan si Quisumbing, but the irony of it is that Quisumbing also became a justice of the Supreme Court kasi bata ito ni FBR. He is really loyal to FBR. So that's why bago matapos ang term ni FBR, inappoint siya sa Supreme Court, pero actually ito siya is a lawyer who was practicing in the military. But anyway, this principle is very good because it upholds the principle of equal pay for equal work. So we will now proceed to the next principle. The next principle is state regulation of matters that relates to wages, labor relations, labor standards, and all matters about employer-employer relationship. So again, the Supreme Court said that the relationship between labor and management is not a mere contract. Hindi pwede nga kamong duha ra magsabot. Kung musugot yung worker na a certain contract, but that contract violates a public policy, the court will nullify that contract because the relationship between labor and capital according to Article 1700 of the Civil Code of the Philippines, the relationship between labor and capital is not merely contractual. It is imbued with public interest. That is why the state is interested to interfere. Mao na nga ako, sige lang kog sulti nga kining relasyon ba sa employer o employee, pareho nig husband and wife. And the government, the Department of Labor is the mother-in-law. Kaning mga duli, boranig mga ugangan. Unsa may trabaho sa mga ugangan, ang mga ugangan manghilabot. Manghilabot, nagsabot na ng husband and wife, nagkasabot na sila, mo-appeal na yung ugangan niya, ayaw sugot ana, kay alkansi ka. So, imbes na mga tao, walay reklamo na nahimik doon sa factory, dumating yung inspector, nagkaroon tayo ng problema. So, why? Why is government interfering? It is because of this principle, no? Na gitawag nila police power of the state. The state is the parens patriae, the guardian of the welfare of the people. So dito na tayo ngayon sa principle ng non-diminution of benefit. Dinhi na ta nindot kay ni prinsipula. This is a very controversial principle because if you read your Article 100 of the Labor Code of the Philippines, kamo ba nakabasa mo tanan sa Article 100 of the Labor Code of the Philippines? Kung wa mo kabasa, gisulat na dito. Gisulat sa Article 100 sa Book 3 ng Labor Code, giingon nga there is nothing in this law that will justify a diminution or a withdrawal of a certain wage or benefit that is enjoyed at the time of the effectivity of this code. At the time, ang buot ng pasabot, ana, nga kung ang sweldo nimo 5,000 atong 1974, hindi pwedeng ibaba yan kasi at that time man. But you know, today, this Article 100 is being abused. Why? Kahit yung mga after 1974 na hindi mo na pwedeng maibaba. Kung pumayag ang empleyado, halimbawa, ang sahod mo before COVID, ang sahod mo ay 40,000. The owner of the company tells you, you know, I have two options, either to retrench you or to retain you with a lower salary because I cannot afford anymore. So, kung mag-agree ka mong duha, ma'am, sugot na lang ko, bisag 30,000 na lang, bawasan mo ng 10,000, but during the COVID lang, ma'am, o wala na COVID, ibalik na nato sa 40. O kanang duha, if they will honor their agreement, that is well and good, walang kaso. But kung pumalag yung isa kasi masulsulan siya ng iba, ayaw magsugot anak kay diminution na. No. Alam nyo, sasabihin ko sa inyo, ito, hindi ko lahabaan ito kasi daghang mga ramification dito. Merong A, may B, may C. Sabihin ko sa inyo, merong desisyon ang Supreme Court sa kaso ng Davao Insular Hotel, which is now called Waterfront. Kasi si William Gatchalian, the owner of Waterfront brand, itong Waterfront sa Lahog at Waterfront dyan sa airport, ang may-ari ng Philippine brand, Philippine franchise of the brand Waterfront is Mr. William Gatchalian. So pinagbili niya yung airline niya, binili ng PAL, ang pinagbilhan niya, binili niya ng mga hotel. At saka yung Davao Insular Hotel, which used to be the #1 hotel in Davao at that time, no? First class talaga yung Davao Insular Hotel. Wala pa yung Marco Polo sa Davao. Davao Insular. Inalugi yun because the union was very militant and the salary and wages are high above the sky, beyond the market already. So it is no longer competitive. Ang mga benepisyo out of this world. Can you imagine merong benefit na menstruation leave? Nakadungog na mo ana, menstruation leave. na ang tanang mga babae mag-claim silang menstruation leave. So, nalugi na yung Davao Insular Hotel. So, nalugi na, binili ni William Gatchalian. When William Gatchalian arrived, he told the employees, I will give you separation pay, all of you, because I cannot afford your level of salary. I will start a new operation and I am a different organization, so I am authorized to do that because I cannot afford this kind of salary and wages and benefits. So the people were crying and say, Mr. Gatchalian, we have met last night and we decided that we are willing to accept a lower salary and we will withdraw some of the benefits. It's okay with us. No? And then that agreement was submitted to a voluntary arbitration which affirmed that agreement. And then it was ratified by 70% of the total employees. But 30% questioned the validity and saying that it is contrary to law and public policy. You know what happened in the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court said, who are we? Hindi ito pinilit ng management ang mga tao. Hindi ito unilateral imposition. This is a bilateral agreement and this is ratified by the people. Who are we to declare this null and void? Sa panahon ng kagipitan, kailangang natuto tayong mag-share ng ating difficulties, ng pains. Sa mga Tagalog may kasabihan, kung maiksi ang kumot, matutong mamaluktot. O binisaya na, maayo mamong binisaya. Ikaw Mr. Maki, binisaya na. Kung maiksi ang kumot, matutong mamaluktot. No? Ang ibig sabihin, sa panahon ng kagipitan tulad ng pandemic, using this, I submit that it is legal, it is valid to reduce the salary of an employee with his agreement and as long as it is not below minimum wage. The law will uphold it based on the decision of the Supreme Court in the case of Davao Insular Hotel. Kita mo, ang Supreme Court knows the realities. No? So, ang tanong diyan, yung bang ang isang sahod pwede bang bawiin? Halimbawa, nagkamali ka, nagbayad doon sa empleyado mo na yung payroll assistant nagkamali pag-compute. Pwede ba in the next salary bawiin? The answer is yes. Because basta huwag mong dugay-dugayon, no? Kung sa man ang Tagaloga, gisagol lang Bisaya. Huwag mong dugay-dugayi. Huwag mong dugay-dugayin, no? Kana bang immediate, kung masayop gani, immediately i-withdraw dayon. Dili kay i-repeat nimo 3 beses ang isang mali pag ni-repeat mo ng 3 times, yan ang kasabihan ng Tagalog. Kailan naging tama ang mali? Ang mali ay nagiging tama kung yan ay inuulit ng 3 beses. Tandaan nyo yan. Kasi pag nagkamali ka immediately, baguhin mo, that is in obligation and contract, that is called solusio indebiti, undue payment. Kung makadawat kag bayad nga dili na para nimo, na sayop lang, it is your obligation to return it. Kasi kung dili na nimo isauli, mahimo ng criminal offense, mahimo ng estapa, abi nimo katong nahitabo sa Milon Bank. Ano ba yung Milon Bank? Alam ba ninyo yung kaso ng Milon Bank? Nga merong isang Pilipino na gipadad-an og $1,000 sa iyang igsoon from California. Unya kay nasayop man ang computer, nasayop ang bangko, nga ang 1,000 pesos nahimo mang 1 million US dollar. So itong buang naman nakadawat yung duwa man nato ni kawata we did not steal this grasya ni sa Ginoo. Bisag nahibaw ba siya nga 1,000 ipadala niya. Niya ang na-credited siyang account, nahimo mang 1 million. Nasayop mang bangko, nasayop yung mga computer. So, iyang gi-withdraw. Sige siya gasto, sige palit og mga kotse, sige adto sa casino, sige pangregalo sa mga uyab. O, unsay nahitabo? Kasuhan siya istapa. Ang dami niyang kaso, istapa. Bilanggo pa siya. Yan ang Melon Bank. Kaya ang isang empleyado na nakadawat ng isang bayad na hindi dapat sa kanya kasi nagkamali lang ang payroll, nagkamali lang, that is an honest mistake, at the earliest opportunity, you have to rectify the mistake. And that is not diminution. Kung bawiin mo yung bayad na hindi karapat-dapat na ibayad, ay hindi yan diminution of benefit kasi hindi yan naging benefit. Pero pag ang mali, inulit mo ng maraming beses hanggang nagiging practice na at nagagandahan na niya, tinanggap na niya, parang na-amended ang contract ninyo, there is already a meeting of the minds. And you cannot withdraw that unilaterally. Kita mo? Sa paliwanag ko sa inyo, iwan ko na lang kung hindi inyo maintindihan yan. So, ako kay gadali man ta kaning oras lagi kay ako, I am very disciplined when it comes to time. I do not want to derail your program because marami pa kayong mga activity, magplano pag mo anang inyong regional, no? So ako lang diretsuhin sa second subject ko, diretsuhin ko ba? No, bukas na lang tayo mag-inusapay kay di pa ko makasugakod ngayon. So ito bang tinatawag na the other alternatives, the other imperatives during a crisis, no? Ang advice ko sa inyo, mga kapatid ko sa Cebu, no? Ngayon I will tell you, we will not have a vaccine until the end of the year. Yung optimism ni Presidente Trump, sabi ni Trump bago mag-eleksyon daw, merong vaccine. Vaccine nila yun. Hindi natin yun vaccine. O si Presidente po din mulaom lang siya sa pasalig sa Russia, mulaom siya sa pasalig sa China, dili man ta unahon. Kay bilyon-bilyon ng tao nila, kanus pa na maabot nga vaccine nato. So you should plan na at least another 1 year magpadayon yun ni atong sitwasyon. So anong gawin ninyo? Itong gawin natin. Una, we will do an inventory of our current work. We have a matrix, old normal versus new normal. Yung AWA, ano ba yung AWA? AWA is alternative work arrangement. Then you inventory your current human capital. Ano yung human capital ninyo? Mga tao ninyo, inyong isegregate, inyong pihig-pihigon ninyo. Ang mga tao ba, pilion ninyo according to health condition, and also according to ABC profile. Alam mo, ako talaga, meron akong ABC profile. Lagi ko talagang sinasabi yung ABC profile. Naibaw naman si Ma'am Grace sa dami-dami niyang seminar na inatinan sa akin. Pero ako, karon lang mo makadungog na ko, kung ikaw mamuno ka ng isang company, pareho ako, naging vice president ako ng Pepsi Cola for 5 years. And Pepsi Cola, there are 17 HR managers reporting to me, or there were, no? And other service directors. So, ang ginagawa ko, lahat ng tao sa organisasyon, divide ko into 3, A, B, and C. Ano yung A? Ito yung mga angels natin. Ano yung mga angels? Ito yung mga hardworking. They are the one who are very productive. High quality ang output. Productivity mataas. And they are very reliable. They are trustworthy, honest. Ito yung mga A mo. So, in your life, you have to take care of your A because they are your angels. Ito yung mga tao nga muunong kanimo, mainit o malamig. Ito ay hindi ka ipahamak bisag wala ka na they will not talk against you, no? Yun ang mga A. Yung mga C naman, ito yung pinadala ng masamang espiritu para gambalain ang buhay mo. Ito yung mga tao, mga kontrabida, C, kontrabida, kontrapelo. Ito yung mga C na ito yung mga tapulan, mga intrigero, mga reklamador, yung mga perming manglimbong sa oras, perming daghan jud siya isyu kanang mga C. Yon namang mga B. Ano yung B, attorney? Yung B, yon ang mga balimbing. Yon ang mga balibali ba? Balibali lang sila. Pwede silang ma-A, pwede silang ma-C. Depende lang kung asa sila magkakwarta or asa sila malipay. So, kung ikaw, panahon sa COVID, kung magkaroon ng retrenchment, nahibalo na mo kinsay mawala sa kalibutan ninyo, kanang mga C, maugay na mawala. Kay nga naman inyo, og mogamit mo last in, first out. Unya, sa mga bag-o, tuwa hinoon to mga A, inyo na hinong i-give up katong mga tao nga makaproduce og daghan kaayo maayo para ninyo. So, you should know, kung mag-inventaryo magtao, mayon, sir, ito bang suggestion mo, moral ba yan? Ethical ba yan? Sabihin ko sa inyo, kahit si Kristo nagsabi, sa panahon ng katapusan ng buhay natin, ihiwalay ang kambing at ang yung mga tinatawag na the kambing and the tupa, yung mga sheep at saka yung mga goat. So yung sheep diyan, yun ang mga tupa, yun ang mga A mo. Yung mga kambing doon sa C yan. So masama ba yan? Masama ba yun na i-classify mong tao when you evaluate the performance of your people, the high performer will get very high salary increase. Is that discrimination? No. If that is discrimination, that is the positive side of discrimination. Because if you will treat your people equally, bigyan mo lahat ng increase, pare-pareho lang yung high performer at saka yung mga non-performer, next year, lahat sila maging non-performer. Ganon ang experience. Maniwalaan lang kayo sa akin para madali ita kay hapon na. Okay? So, kailangan talaga magkaroon din kayo ng cash profile. Ano ba? Sino ang maraming knowledge, attitude, positive, skills, and saka habits. We do not have enough time pero sobrang ang dami kong mga material tungkol dito. Kung kayo magpamembro sa organization namin, membro yan si Dr. Grace Iligan na Movement for Organizational Justice. Ang dami niyo matutunan kasi hindi ako manghambog ninyo. 45 years ako. I am wounded and scarred in the battlefield of life. Ako, dili ko graduate og Ateneo, taga Ateneo de Colon ra ko, UB, nirara mo yung UB, diha ako mo graduate. Pero nganong ako may gipili sa San Miguel Corporation, ang mga sakop nako UP, Ateneo, mga sikat kayo, San Beda, ang boss nila taga UB, taga Bukid pa, ako taga Bukid. But because of my superior experience, hardworking, talagang hindi ko kaayo bright pero sobra ko ka-hardworking. Can you imagine, I could produce 6 books from March up to the month of August, March to August, 6 books published, and they are now found in Central Books. Nandoon doon malapit San Carlos, Central Books. So, nandoon lahat yung how to terminate employment with dignity. Nandoon din yung HR Forms 101. Lahat ng forma, lahat ng memo, lahat ng dokumento from job offer up to retirement, nandoon. Sinong gumawa niyan? Taga dito lang, taga Cebu. Kanigong mga Cebuano ba? Kaning mga organisasyon sa Cebu, dili po na sila mo invite og Cebuano kay mayo Cebuano ra na si Josephos. Pero ang imbitaho nila ng mga taga Bicol, taga Ilocano, kaya hindi man sila mo believe sa mga Cebuano. Samantala ako, kung saan-saan ako in-invite na ako doon sa Geneva, sa Francisco, pero sa Cebu, dili ko musikat kay ang mga Cebuano, gusto nila mga foreigner yun ang mga speaker nila, merong mga taga Malaysia, nandyan yung mga sikat na pangalan. Okay lang yan sa akin kasi a prophet is never honored in his own village. Yun lang ang sinasabi ko sa inyo, no? So, marami kayong gawin at i-revise ang table of organization ninyo, i-enrich ninyo ang job description, i-multi-skill ninyo ang mga tao, itaas ninyo ang qualification standards, at slow down muna tayo sa talent acquisition kasi ngayon walang masyadong hiring ngayon. Ang kung meron tayong mga, instead of hiring from the outside, we hire from the inside because baka there are hidden talents right in our organization. Bakit pa tayo kumuha ng iba? Meron tayong tao sa loob. So, this is the time to put your house in order. You know, I am very sad. I'm very sad to tell you that there are HR departments or units that do not even have good record keeping. And when there is a case filed, unsaon pagdaog, how can you win your case when your records are topsy-turvy? Topsy-turvy. You know, when I was labor arbiter in 1977, there was a case filed against a big company in Cebu. I will not name the company because the lawyers are all my friends. You know, they dismissed an engineer who was working with the company for 17 years. Excellent records, all promotion, training abroad, commendation, napakagandang career niya. Then one day, he was transferred to another unit in the company, and that unit is not familiar with him. And he is not familiar with that operation. Akala ng may-ari ng kumpanya, kung bright ka, kahit saan ka ibutang, bright gapon, niya kay di man siya hibaw atong operation. Engineer man siya, niya lain man to, decision making. Nasayop siya. And his mistake caused damage to the company to the tune of 800,000. Malaking amount na yan in the year 1977. So kinasuhan siya ngayon, tinanggal siya, kinasuhan siya ng gross and habitual neglect of duty. So ngayon, akong arbiter, ako ang judge, sabi ko, I challenge the HR manager to give me a copy of your 201 file because you are charging this person of gross and habitual. So give me an evidence of habituality. How can you say he's habitual? You promote him every year. You increase his salary. You are very happy with his performance. And it was your mistake to transfer him to another unit. You did not train him for that transfer. And now you will punish him for one mistake. Maybe he is wrong. But dismissal is too harsh a penalty for them. So if you cannot produce the 201 file that will indicate that he is really habitually negligent, then I will have to order reinstatement with full back wages without loss of seniority rights. Can you imagine that? So talagang natalo yung kumpanya na yan. Nasuko tong ako mga amigo, mga abogado, ang uban mga classmate pa na ako, nahiubos na ako. Anong gidesisyonan ako na pildi noon sila. Ako, why igsoon, bisag ako pang amahan, basta sayop, ako yun ang ipapriso. Kay importante ang professionalism, ang honesty, ang integrity nato, especially HR people. The HR people will go to heaven. Why? Because HR people, you are the compassionate part of humanity. No? And before I end my sharing, kasi mahaba pa ta istorya, taas kayo, dili ta matapos. I will just give you the story. Ending ko na ito kasi Nandiyan ang engineer si Engineer Maki, engineer din si Engineer Gilas, tapos may lawyer si Attorney Bohols, may doktor din siguro din ngayon, no? So I'll tell you the story about the doctor, the engineer, and the lawyer. In the beginning of time, sabi, kaning tulo ka amigo, ang usa engineer, ang usa abogado, ang usa sa doktor. Nag-inom sila. Tapos sabi nila, mag-contest tag kinsa gyud kinasikatan sa tanang profesyon. Niingon na yung engineer. Ang engineer gyud pauna-una, ingon ang engineer. Kami yung engineer sikat because in the beginning, if you read the Bible in the Old Testament, in Genesis, no? In the beginning, God created the world. And creating the world is a major engineering construction. So, God is an engineer. Sikat yun may mga engineer. Ito bagman siyang doktor. Yung doktor, don't you know that Eve was taken from the rib of Adam? Kada ba si Eva ba, gusok na na ni Adan, gikuha sa itong Ginoo? That is a major surgical operation. So, God is a doctor. Unsaon na bagtubag sa abogado, ang abogado kita katapusang musulti. Ingon na yung abogado, kamong mga doktor, kamong mga engineer, diin mamo sa panahon nga gilansang sa krus si Kristo. Wa joy engineer gapakita doon, walay doktor. Do you know kung sino ang nagbigay ng memorial plan kay Kristo? Sino ang nagbigay ng IntelliCare kay Kristo? Bakit meron siyang libingan? Hindi man bumili yun. Kaya mahirap lang yung pamilya niya. Sino ang nagbigay? Si Saint Joseph Arimathea. At yan ay isang abogado. Kaya si Josephus, pinangalan ng Josephus, tungod kay gatuog yun ang amahan ni Josephus nga kani maabogado gini si Josephus. Busa, gipangalanan doon sa pangalan ni Saint Joseph, the patron saint of good husband. Mauna si Josephus Jimenez, nga natao sa Argao, marapit na labang pista sa Argao. Onya, nidako dito sa bukid in town, doon sa bukid nila ni Chief Justice Davide. Silingan na mo nagbaryo dito sa bukid. Onya karon di ana nagtungkalo na diri sa Manila, nagtudlo sa mga universidad. Bisag wala siya hatagi o pagdawat sa iyang kaugalingong lungsod, gidawat diri sa lain-laing mga siyudad sa Pilipinas sa iyang pagserbisyo, sa iyang pagtudlo sa ubat-ubang mga universidad nga nagtudlo og labor law o nagsulat og mga libro. Mao kana ang inyong igsuon, kining inyong ubos nga alagad nga andam og kanunay nga motubag sa inyong pangutana, si Attorney JBJ. The others, the boys call me JBJ. The girls call me anytime. Good afternoon. Mayong hapon kanatong tanan. Ako ha, oras na ko ha, Maki ha. I give you 1 hour for question and answer. Dili na ako tiwason na akong mga material kay taas na. Okay? Madam Grace.
Okay, thank you very much, Attorney Jimenez. It was an enlightening speech or lecture for all of us. It was also a very comprehensive discussion on the various topics involving PACE. Okay. Now we will have a short roundtable discussion with our resource person, and to join me is the immediate past president of PMAP CEBU and advisor to the 2020 Board of Trustees. She is presently the head of the Human Resource and Facilities Management Services of GMR Megawide Cebu Airport Corporation, Miss Arlene Pinky Mante, FPM. Hi, Pinky.
Hi, Attorney JBJ.
Hi, Pinky.
So,
as usual, aligrited kaayo ang imuhang lecture. Why magduka?
Kulang sa oras. Okay.
So Pinky, we are now ready to entertain. Attorney, we are now entertaining questions from our participants. By the way, for our participants, for our attendees, you may place your question in our chat, or if you want to ask the speaker live, please use the raise hand button and turn on your video and audio once you are recognized. Okay, so you have two options: either you ask your question live, or you write or you convey your question through our Q&A chat. That's the way to do it. Okay.
There are now many questions in the chat box.
Yeah. Attorney, let's just start with the ones that that was sent separately. Kay nangutan naman ta sa ato ang mga participants if they have any questions in advance to send it. And there were a few who sent questions. So let's start with most of the questions, attorney, is related actually to the pandemic, like the work situation now during the pandemic, because it's very, very unusual, like what they say, the new normal. So the first question that was sent to us was, it has been over 6 months since employees were placed on temporary leave of absence or float probably due to the pandemic. The company is required to provide them with separation pay on the 6th month, di ba? I think this is 301. Since the company cannot grant them work yet while still under the COVID period. So are they supposed to pay separation pay? Probably yes, because it's 6 months. But if the financial situation of a company remains the same after 6 months and yet would still want to keep the workforce intact, but they want to put their employees still on a float status as they are hopeful that the business will pick up, are they allowed to extend? If so, what needs to be done?
The answer is yes, but there must be a waiver from the employees. The employees should execute a waiver because the others, Ma'am Pinky, the others would prefer. That is already a right on the hands of the employee. Once the 6-month period has expired, a right has been created on the part of the employee to demand separation pay. But rights can be waived. So the waiver should come from the employee himself. If an employee does not want to waive, for instance, Ma'am Pinky, sinabi na 6 months na tayo, wala tayong salary from you, wala tayong engagement, so I would rather get my separation pay. Kung hindi siya mag-waive, you have to pay kasi if you do not pay, he can file a case because that is already constructively in the eyes of the law, that is already constructive dismissal. But since it is pandemic, maybe the interpretation by DOLE will be more liberal because it's not the fault of the employer. Now, so to be safe, kung ikaw ang management dyan, you have to talk to these people and gauge kung ano ba talaga ang gusto nila. Gusto ba nila na mag-separate na lang and then separation pay? Anyway, you can postpone the payment of separation pay by just agreeing with them that I'm willing to pay, I accept my responsibility, but can we stagger the payment because of our financial difficulty? Wala dili mahimong sabutan. Pero pag ma-waive siya, Ma'am Pinky, moingon nga, ayaw lang kong bayari, ma'am, kasi gusto ko pa rin dito, maghintay lang ako. Okay lang po diyan kasi it is a waiver man. No, that waiver is valid.
So
how do we document the waiver, attorney?
A waiver should be in writing.
Okay.
And preferably a notarized waiver.
But attorney, if ever lang, no, the employee would like to have to have a separation pay or be separated from the company, but then si company still wants to keep the talent and applies for it sa DOLE or an extension without the knowledge of the employee, and would pray to DOLE that if they could invoke an extension to, is that Article 301, attorney?
Yes, ma'am. You know, ma'am, kahit ba mo approve pa ang DOLE na i-extend ko yan, kung ayaw na ng tao, hindi mo yan mapilit because it becomes involuntary servitude. And involuntary servitude is not allowed under our Constitution. Gani, Ma'am Pinky, ang imong bana o gusto nang mubiya animo, di yun nimo kapugnan. Busa ka na mga empleyado nimo nga dili na gusto nimo, dili na nimo kapugnan bisag mo approve pa ang mother-in-law kay ang imong bana dili na ginani mo kapugnan. So there is nothing that can prevent an employee if he does not want to be your employee anymore.
Correct. I was pretty sure nga you would bring that up.
Maulagi kasi ano ma'am, alam mo ma'am, yung walang forever. Walang forever.
Walang forever.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so
very
much.
much. Anyone from our participants who would like to ask the question live or ask
Sir
the
Maki,
question coming from the Q&A chat?
Sir Maki, we still have 2 questions coming from the advance questions
Okay.
we sent.
Yes, we have.
Apart from, we already have a lot of questions actually in the Q&A box. As usual, kani si Attorney JBJ, sag-asa ni siya ibutang as in kanang daghan jud kayo ni siya og pangutana. So let's give what you call this, a chance to those who submitted earlier. Okay. What is the best payment or salary arrangement for work from home agreement, especially during this pandemic?
Very good question. The best arrangement is to pay by result, not by time, because we cannot monitor the number of hours that he will put in. We should measure the payment based on output. So you should devise a system by which you can gauge the value of the output, and you should agree with him. And that is also good to the employee because he is not compelled to render us work within a span of time. Rather, he will be gauged based on result, output. And we should maneuver, tayong mga HR, we should move towards productivity-based compensation system rather than time-based. So ang sagot ko diyan, madali lang, mag-agree kayo ng output base para hindi ka na magbantay kung nagtrabaho ba siya sa balay o wala ba. Ngalig nag-Facebook lang o nag-TikTok ba siya.
And actually, dili lang na siya, sayon na kayo na siya unta kung ang output base is like per piece. But if like kung naaka sa BPO and then you have, if you don't have that metrics in place, that would be a problem. So sakto dyan na yung attorney, you have to agree with the employee has to agree with the company as to the KPIs that they are being given. Sir Maki, you were trying to say something.
Yeah. Actually, I think that will require a lot of industrial engineering work, attorney. You know, but at any rate, whatever the terms will be, these have to be agreed upon, mutually agreed upon by the employee and the company, right?
Alam mo, Sir Maki, kinahanglan nga ang mga tao dili na sila magpagahi-gahi ulo kay naagutas kalisod.
Right.
Kita mga HR, maayo man kita ang mapasabot. Yung nga ikaw dong, ayaw na lang pagreklamo kay the employer is doing a lot of things to accommodate you. Asa may mong gusto ka nang wala na kay income o ito nga tagaan yung kag higayon nga makakwarta ka. So
Okay.
ayaw na nagbalibad-balibad. Ayaw dawatan na lang na because the management is exercising utmost diligence in making sure that your income will continue. Di ba?
Wow, what a
Even
wisdom.
reduced.
What a wisdom. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
attorney.
you. There's a
There is a question.
follow-up question. There's a
Yeah,
follow-up
question.
question, Sir Mac. If we go result-based compensation rather than based on number of hours rendered, would it be legal to pay a compensation of less than the required minimum wage if the employee is able to produce an output that is less than the required output for the day?
Yes, because you know, on a long range basis, kung wala tayo sa pandemic, merong time and motion study. Minsan kasi, the way we gauge naman the value of the work may not be fair to the employee. Kaya we need a third-party intervention, yung DOLE representative to conduct a time and motion study. Pero ngayon, yung mga tanong na yan ay ang sagot ko dyan is yes. Kahit below minimum wage pa. Kasi kaya naman below minimum wage kasi hindi naman siya ni-require na 8 hours eh. Ang minimum wage kasi assumes that you have worked for 8 hours. Eh kung nagtrabaho ka lang ng 3 hours, bakit mag-demand ka ng work for 8 hours na equal to the minimum wage? No? Di ba?
Agree. Okay. Thank you very much, attorney. That is very, very clear. Sir Mac, would you like to
Yes,
take the next
attorney,
question?
there is an interesting question here regarding CBA. So this must be coming from an HR manager that whose CBA is forthcoming. No, they're asking that is it possible that we can reduce certain benefits in the negotiation, like the leave credits, the bonus.
Alam mo, ang sagot ko dyan, pwede yan. Yan ang tawag ng mga Bisaya dyan. Pwede pero dipindi. Pwede.
Okay.
Yan ang sagot ni Boy Herrera, kung nabuhi pa si Boy Herrera, tong senador na to, taga-UB, ang sagot ni Boy Herrera, pwede pero dipindi. Nga naman, sa San Miguel gani, sultihan mo, kaniadto ang mga empleyado doon ay usa ka sako bugas.
Okay.
Kada empleyado may usa ka sako bugas kada bulan. Nya pag abot na ni Mr. Ramon Ang, nipuli na ang mga kuhang ko sa mga Suryano, inalis na yung isang sakong bigas, ginawa na lang pera. Sabi, oy, hindi na kami bibili ng bigas para sa inyo, kay mag-hustle pa na, mag-deliver pa kami, magkuha ang daming administrative cost. Ang gawin na lang namin, bigyan namin kayong pera, bahala kayo bumili ng bigas ninyo. Kasi magreklamo pa kayo sa quality ng bigas, marami tayong problema. So you can buy that whatever benefits you have, okay. I'll give you one time lump sum. Forget all that benefits. That's okay, that's allowed. Basta union nag-agree, ratified by the people, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, clear. Clear.
Okay. There's another question, Attorney JBJ, kay kanina naghisgot man tanong nga dapat magpasalamat ta nga napatay the company is trying to give us income, di ba? Even if reduced. So here's a question that says, how do we handle an employee who already is advised to report back to work and yet refuses to return to work because he is still in the province and he will only go back to work after the pandemic? This is given that there is already transportation to report back to work, and some also have this stigma that they might contract COVID if they go outside the house, that fear also. So what's your take on that, attorney?
Magandang tanong yan, ma'am. Alam mo, kung yung empleyado na yan ay type A, angel mo yan. In other words, in the past, he has been very good to you. Huwag mo muna yung kasuhan ng insubordination. I-heart-to-heart talk mo siya para manghilot-hiloton nganong nag-ingnon man ka ana day nganong imong ana baka matruma ka kanang matruma ba mamba. He wants to be good but there is something emotional that psychological that is preventing her.
Stigma. Yeah,
Kasi
stigma.
na stigma na trauma siya nga daghang namatay. So give her another chance. Lawig-lawigan mo yung opportunity nga tagaan siya time. Pero bigyan mo ng deadline na ma'am, bigyan kita ng another 1 month. Pag another 1 month na o di pag yung kambalik, magsabot na kita, mag-istorya ta, kaya maayo makang tao. Pero kung letter C yan ma'am, yung type C na empleyado, agad ng yung notice of charge of insubordination because that is willful disobedience to a lawful order given by a superior in relation to work. So,
okay.
Panahon na yan, matanggal yung tao na yan kasi yan ang may problema, hindi na tayo.
Okay. Klaro kayo, Attorney JBJ. Ari na punta sa kuan kay human naman tagaang trabaho. Yay usa nga dili ganahan mo trabaho. Na ay follow-up question, Attorney. Isa ni. Is it okay to give just 1 day work per week to the employee considering that the business was closed during the lockdown? Thus, there is no transaction. However, the company cannot afford to pay separation pay. So, meaning to say, in the 6 months probably, they cannot afford to pay separation pay. Thus, ipabalik nila, but they will just call them like 1 day per week.
Well,
so there's no termination.
Mao na giingon ma'am, you cannot draw blood from stone. Kung yan lang talaga ang kaya kasi wala mang transaction, nagmalasakit na nga ang company, pa-reportin ka pa kahit wala kang gagawin, mag-report ka lang para may income ka. So tanggapin mo na yan, pero kung may
1 day lang.
Yung alam mo ma'am, mas mabuti yung maliit kaysa wala. Yung madre nagtanong sa akin ma'am, sinabi ko sa madre, sister, anong gusto mo? One bird in your hand or 2 birds in the bush? Sabi ng madre, ma'am, hindi pa ho ako nakahawak ng bird. Sabi niya. Mas mabuti yung maliit, magtiyaga kami maliit kaysa maghanap ka ng malaki na wala naman. Ano masabi mo dyan, Maki?
Okay. Anyway, follow-up question, Attorney. What if after 6 months of temporary layoff because there's no work, can the company extend implementation of retrenchment due to lack of funds?
Well, legally, hindi talaga, but in the real sense of the word, kahit magkaso siya, kahit mag-file siya, wala naman tayong ibayad. So, kung akong empleyado dyan, practical na lang ako, makipagsabot na lang ako, di na lang ako mukiha. Mukiha ka, abutin naman yan ng mga 10 years, hanggang karating sa Supreme Court, hindi ka pa makadawat. Masira pa yung relasyon ninyo, baka makarecover yung kumpanya, hindi ka na makabalik. So, be practical. Pero kung talagang idaan yan sa legalidad, ay dapat na nga siyang bayaran, hindi na pwedeng i-postpone pa. So, alam mo, may sasabihin ko sa inyo, may desisyon ang Supreme Court sa kaso ng North Davao Mining.
Okay.
Ang sabi ng Supreme Court, kung ang financial statement talaga ng kumpanya, zero na ang asset niya, zero na ang resources niya, financial hemorrhage, ang tawag noon ma'am, financial hemorrhage. Alam mo ba, excuse na siya magbayad ng separation pay. Basahin niyo yan. I-google niyo. North Davao Mining Corporation versus NLRC. Supreme Court in bank. 15 justices nagdesisyon na kung ang isang kumpanya, pareho ng kumpanya ito ng gold mine sa Davao, nga pag-aari ni Manda Elizalde, kapatid ni Fred Elizalde, na sinunog ng mga rebelde ang lahat ng mga building nila, ari-arian nila, na lugi sila lahat. So wala nang pambayad sa separation pay. Sabi ng Supreme Court, if there is no more asset, there is no more resources, how can we draw blood from stone? So wala na, excuse na, wala na separation pay.
Okay. But
Correct.
but how will government require companies to prove that, attorney?
Kuan yan, trabaho ng CPA yan. Yan sa kuan yan, trabaho yan ng mga certified public accountant. Yung
Okay.
what is the meaning of financial hemorrhage?
Okay.
Financial hemorrhage. Hindi ka na nga maka-afford magbayad ng payroll mo. Hindi ka na
Right.
makabayad ng tax. Pati yung
Right.
mga kuryente, hindi mo na babayaran. Paano pa yung separation pay?
Okay.
Attorney JBJ, may follow-up question. What if kabalo ang mga empleyado na naa siya sister company nga dili alkansi? Pero it's a separate company, it's a sister company.
Ganito yan. Dalawang option dyan, ma'am. Either na, okay, lilipat ka na another company kahit the same owner yan, dapat i-close mo muna yung relationship mo dito at mag-start ka ng day one doon sa another company. That's one option. Another option, maggawa ng agreement yung dalawang company na your years in service in company A will be accepted by company B, and when you retire, that will be included in the computation of your retirement pay.
So
That is okay. Kasi ang may-ari isa lang, madali lang makasabot.
That is given if naay kinahanglan ang pikas. What if attorney wala mang kinahanglan?
Naunsa? Ay di, wala.
Wala mang
siya
kinahanglan og
mapuntahan.
additional.
Wala na siya mapuntahan.
Yeah, pero mubayad gyud siya separation pay.
Bayad yun.
Kapon.
Bayad yun. Kung di siya
Because the financials, ang financials ni company A is murag down to zero, but ang financials ni company B is still okay. So the employee knows that it's the same owner, and they know that company B is not that affected yet. And then company A will file na no separation pay because they're already bleeding or there's negative income or revenue already. So can the employee, the question is, can the employee use this excuse to claim separation pay?
Hindi, ma'am, kasi every corporation is separate and distinct from each other. Hindi natin magamit ang piercing the bill of corporate fiction kasi ibang company yan eh. So ang relasyon mo with company A, yun ang nalugi eh. Yung isa, hindi naman nalugi yun. So hindi pwedeng i-demand mo doon sa kabilang company. That you cannot do that. No?
Thank you, attorney. Talking about employee agreement, there's a question here, from an anonymous attendee. What if there is an agreement that no holiday pay will be paid during holidays at this time of pandemic? Are these agreements valid?
The DOLE will not accept that because that agreement is null and void. You cannot waive that. But kung honest naman yung tao, ay hindi na siya mag-file ng kaso, di walang problema, ma'am. Ang problema lang yan kung magbago ang isip niyan. And he will renege on that agreement. And the DOLE will still honor his complaint because that agreement would be considered as null and void.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir Mark, you want to-
In relation to tax, attorney, withholding tax, is the company justified by acceding to the employee's request not to accept salary adjustment so he won't be able to pay tax?
Yeah, okay naman yun. That's not illegal. Sabi ng empleyado, ayaw niyang tumanggap, di wag mong pilitin. So hindi ibinigay ng management. Sino magreklamo? Ang BIR. Sabi na ayaw tumanggap ng increase. You cannot force. Kahit pag-ibig mo, Sir Maki, kung ayaw tanggapin, hindi mo pwedeng ipilit. No?
Right. Agree.
Yeah. Attorney, there's another question from an anonymous attendee. Wow man ni sila sa imuha, attorney. Ay, di man sila magpaila. If
Kanang
the
mga
company...
anonymous, ma'am, yung mga anonymous, tubagon sa akong anonymous. Sige, padayon lang ma'am, padayon.
If the company has ceased operations during the lockdown, do the employees wait for the back to work notice? I think the notice he or she is referring to is like a written notice from HR or from management. They were only given a text message that says planning to open on October 10.
That's enough. Huwag na sila maghintay na padalhan pa sila ng registered mail na merong silyo na kumpanya. Kasi in a time of high technology na tayo, text is accepted. Yung mga email, text, allowed na yan. Ang Supreme Court nga, ina-amend yung, pwede na ngayon magpanotaryo. Pwede ka na magpanotaryo by Zoom. No? O hindi na kailangan humarap ka doon sa abogado, sa notaryo, magpataas kang kamay. Hindi na. Iba ng panahon ngayon, kaya dapat baguhin na natin yung labor code.
Nice. Nice to know.
We're with you on that, Attorney JBJ.
Wait,
Sir Mac.
Attorney, regarding separation pay, especially during retrenchment, some companies would like to interpret 1/2 month as 15 days. And others, of course, according to law, it's specific that it's 22.5. Are companies who go for 15 days to mean 1/2 month justified?
Makasuhan sila dyan o differential kasi yung kaso ng Capitol Wireless versus Secretary Confessor, yung nagtanong yan, hindi yun batas, kundi desisyon ng Supreme Court yun. Ang sabi ng Supreme Court, pag sinabi mong 1/2 month of for every year of service, that is 22.5 days because 15 days, dagdagan mo ng 5 days na service incentive leave.
Right.
20 na. Ay yung 2.5, ito yung 1/12 of the 13-month pay. Equivalent to 2.5. So, yung mga mayroon nga half month raman na, di 15 days. O sige, dawata lang usana para na kay kwarta. Unya ikaw man, mukiha ka, mangayo kag differential, dawaton niya po sa arbiter kay sakto man ka. Naamang kay basis. Ang basis nimo ang kaso man sa Capitol Wireless versus Nieves Confessor. Memorize ko lahat yan kasi yan tinuturo ko yan araw-araw eh.
The iPhone in question, Attorney. What is the difference now between retrenchment and redundancy?
Very good question. Retrenchment, pag nalugi ka na nalugi ka na, may financial statement ka, so babayarin ka lang, kalahati lang bayaran mo for every year of service. But pagka redundancy, hindi ka nalugi, gusto mo lang na mapaganda yung iyong operation. Halimbawa, mag-install ka ng labor saving device. Meron kang technology na imbes 100 people, ang gagawa na lang 20 people. So yung 80 ngayon, hindi ka naman nalugi. So the law requires you to pay talagang 1 month for every year of service. So,
and what if, siguro ang follow-up question ana, Attorney, is, what if nalugi sila because of the pandemic, but they would know that once everything will normalize, di na sila malugi. Nalugi lang sila sa pagkakaroon. So can they claim for retrenchment because of that reason?
Basta meron silang financial statement na audited ng external auditor na ang kanilang working capital has been eroded already by as much as 50%. That will justify retrenchment. So ang sagot ko dyan, it depends upon the financial statement. Kasi ma'am, meron tao na nalugi lang ng 1,000, sabi nalugi kami. maliit lang ng amount yun. Pero yung iba, the word kasi na lugi is subjective, it is relative. Halimbawa, para sa iyo ma'am, maliit sa iyo, malaki na talaga sa akin yan pag ganun ang amount. So, there must be a quantitative basis. Yung sinasabi kong your working capital has been eroded by 50%. Nabasa ko yan sa isang desisyon ng Supreme Court. So, yun na. Pwede na yung retrenchment. Pero kung maliit lang lugi, mga natural, you lose some years, you win next year. But if this year you will use that, merong annual financial report, di justified ka. Hindi mo naman kasalanan kung hindi ka na malugi next year eh. Di i-rehire mo yung taong tinanggal mo kung kailangan mo siya. No? Okay lang yun.
Yes.
So the reference level na to attorney is 50%, no less than 50%.
Of the working capital is eroded.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the mutually agreed nga mga terms and benefits sa employees and company, attorney. Nainangutan na, does it include katong mga holiday pays? Because there are companies that who ask their employees understanding nga di lang sila mubayad og holiday pays. So that can also fall into that category, no, kanang mga mutually agreed.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Kung mag-agree ganita kanang imong ka-agree, butan nga tao, gasabot gun mo wa man nimo siya pugsa, nisugot man siya. Kung mobarog siya sa iyang agreement, wala tay problema, okay lang 'yon. Pero assuming na nag-agree sila, pero later on na bago ang isip, bali wala yung agreement na 'yan.
Right.
The DOLE will still uphold the law.
Right. Agree.
All right, we're down to the last two questions. Sir Mac, I will cover this question and then you take the last question. Pinaka-last question mo pinaka-nindot. So I'll cover this one. In these COVID times, are the employees or can the employees say no if they will be asked to be deployed for an outreach program arranged by the employer? Kasi mahadlok sila ba?
Well, kung letter A na empleyado yan, pagbigyan ko yan. Pero pag letter C yan ay panahon na insubordination ko siya because that is a lawful order given by a superior in relation to work. Kaya ako, ibang approach ko. Different folks, different strokes. Pagka buutan nga tao, karon lang balibad, okay lang, balibad ka karon. Pero pagka soberbio nga tao nga kanang mga tao nga lisod kayong dadon, panahon na nga makasuhan nimo siya insubordination. Kasi kahit outreach program yan, ma'am, that's an official function of the company.
The company, yeah.
Okay, down to the last question. What is the secret to becoming someone like Attorney Jimenez?
Magkugi ka dong, magkugi. Kaya ako, natulog pa ng uban, ako nagmata na.
Wow! Nice!
Ang uban na naghinanok na, tukaw ko, gapuyo ko sa squatter area sa B. Rodriguez, parting paita akong kinabuhi, bosa ako naning kamot dyo ko kay parting pobreha akong ginikanan. Bosa dili ko mauwaw nga na abogado ko waadyo ko gastuhoy sa akong ginikanan. Basta ang akong secret lang gyud is pag-ampo sa Ginoo, pagkugi, pagbinuutan kay ang mga dagkong kumpanya mosalig nimo pagbinuutan ka nga pag mangako ako Sir Maki, mangako ako mag-report, I will submit my report on Monday, my promise, but on Friday i-submit ko na sa iyo. I always deliver ahead of my promise. Under promise and over deliver. Yun ang secret kong success. Bakit ako tinanggap na malaking kumpanya, mga San Miguel, Petron, Pepsi Cola, sino ba ako? Istambay lang ako ng kulon. naglakaw-lakaw lang ko gikan sa private ngadto sa UB, pating paita kong nabuhi, pero parting ko gihanan ako. Wagay makalupig na ko kakogi. Kinsay nakabuhat og libro, unom ka libro sa sukad sa Marso hantod sa Agosto. Ako ra gyud.
Wow, yeah.
Wow.
A
Si
truly
atong bagong
self-made man.
ang bagong member di ay Attorney JBJ, si Attorney Bohos also comes from UV. He says that he has learned a lot from you.
Taga-diin man siya.
Taga Leyte. Taga Leyte si Attorney Bohols. We used to be working together sa power
Ay
company.
na kay taga siya mo kumilik dito sa Karkar niya.
Karkar.
Oh, niya ako kay amigo mami ni Idigol. Si Idigol ba kay mao mong gyud ay protector na ko sa Idigol. Kanang congressman diha ako nang sultihan buutan ng atong kumilik sa kumilik sa
Karkar.
Oh.
Ya, engineer pa siya, engineer siya niya, abogado.
Electrical engineer.
Grabe no?
Okay, I think that was the last question, Attorney JBJ.
Yeah.
Back to you, Mac.
Yeah, that's about it. Thank you very much. We had a very wonderful roundtable discussion. Thank you very much, Attorney. Please stay on. And thank you very much, Pinky, for joining me in our roundtable discussion.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Attorney.
Okay, I'm now calling on our president for the recognition of our resource person.
Good afternoon once again. Wow, Attorney, you always prove nga no boring moment with you. Good, grabe, a unique way of learning with all those critical things. Yeah, with matching pa gyud lab lesson 101 correlating sa mga ugangan. Madamay gyud ang mga ugangan, kuyawan tag-apil. Kulbaan ta. Anyway, in behalf of PMAP CEBU, Attorney, I would like to give you the virtual certificate because wala may kaya this time.
Nako, kadaghan na madam, ako ginang kolektahon nimo tanan.
Oh, that's very nice. And I really like your your books at the back. Nice gid kayo ka upan. Lain-lain kag area kada nimo training, Attorney.
Yan ma'am, palitan mo yung middle name ma'am kasi hindi man ako J middle name ma'am. B.
Ito. Oh, i-edit lang ni kay nagkuan na wani nakit sorry, apology, Attorney. Nag-ingon ang naghimo at the back nga apology ko no, apologize ra na sad sila ron later ni mga Attorney.
Ayaw lang ay kada nga komedya ako.
But anyway, bahala lang nagsayop na. Let me still give you this one. The certificate of appreciation is given to Attorney Josephos, that's B. Jimenez, for your insightful conduct as a speaker of this learning session, nurturing people and business with principles of payment during pandemic crisis to PMAP CEBU members and other participating attendees during the 6th PMAP CEBU Virtual General Membership Meeting as September 28, 2020. Signed by yours truly, Grace Iligan, 2020 PMAP CEBU President. So, Attorney, thank you so much. And this is really your training, your talks now, really something we really look forward. And it proves good nga. Di good me, nagsige mi paminaw, wa good me moment nga kuan. Grabe ka. We learn and we have fun.
Agree.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Attorney. Thank you. We know how busy you are. So grabe imong webinar murag buntag hapon.
Mga nabuhi ginang pobre.
Di oy, one thing I learned kuan gid ay dapat magkugi, mao gid na. Under promise, over deliver.
Ang mga batanon ron tudluan nato magkugi mo.
Lagi magkugi ra man gid sa cellphone, Attorney. Unsaon man na nato. So mao gid na ato ang dapat i-disiplina. May nalang gani nag-pandemic, nagplantito na sila uban.
Plantito.
Anyway, attorney, thank you so much. There were
Salamat.
so many things we learned from you this afternoon. So thank you so much. There were so many chats sa chat box nga. They really love the talk and the learnings this afternoon. So in behalf of Team of Cebu, thank you, attorney.
Salamat sa uulitin.
Sa uulitin, yep. Okay. And also, Sir Mac, I want also to give you this certificate of appreciation, this virtual certificate for your masterful facilitation as a moderator of this learning session, nurturing people, business with principles of payment during pandemic crisis to our PMAP members and other guests during the 6th GMM, dated September 20, 2020. September 25, 2020, signed by yours truly, Grace Iligan, 2020 PMAP Cebu President. Sir Mac, thank you. And
Thank you.
thank you
Thank
also, Ma'am
you.
Pink, for helping the Q&A.
Thank you
Okay,
very
Ma'am
much.
Pink.
Thank you.
Yeah. Same also goes to you for facilitating as a co-moderator for this webinar. So, side is also, di na nako basahon.
My
Signed by yours
pleasure.
truly. Ma'am, thank you again. Thank you so much. It was a very
My
good
pleasure.
interactive session. Thank you. And I think back to you, Sir Maki, for the closing remarks. You have to call somebody else for the closing message. Thank you.
Yes, I would like to call on our trustee in charge for training and development, my partner, Ms. Nelda Ravina, for her closing remarks. By the way, for the information of everyone, the sponsor, the committee in charge of this GMM is the Training and Development Committee. So that's why our trustee in charge is the one giving the closing remarks this afternoon. Take it away, Ms. Nilda.
Can you see me now? Hi, everyone.
Yes, we do. Hi, Nils. Take it away.
It's been a while. It's been a while, really. I'm sorry. I'm guilty as been so busy and swamped with work today and in the past months. Well, I hope that today will really be one of the great fun and for our fellow PIMA members and guests. And I hope all of us we found the talk of attorney Josephus Jimenez very exciting and lasting learning today. So on behalf of PMAP Cebu chapter, I wish you all the best as we deal with the most trying challenges of our times. But let's just keep the faith, as faith is the continual demonstration of the strength and wonder of life. I am sure we can get through this, resilient and agile as we are. So I would also like to thank all those who put this session together, the people behind this webinar. Thank you very much. And to all our guests for joining us today. And we hope to see you in our future events, most especially our regional conference. Thank you all again, and may you be blessed with happiness and joy. Stay safe and well, everyone. God bless. Bye.
Thank you very much, Niels. So that was about it for our sixth general membership meeting. We would like to specifically mention now the companies that have joined us today. They are GMR Megawide Cebu Airport Corporation, Aspat Bank, ASR Realty and Brokerage Company, Feed the Children Philippines Incorporated, Rafi Microfinance, Ria Magnaye, Intellicare, Adja Human Resource Solutions and Consultancy, Benefil, Galabin, Virginia Farms, Rafi, Prime Care Cebu, CGSI Luzon, Knowles Electronics Philippines Corporation, Alliance Software Incorporated, ProDGs, Your Source Industries, Arsenas Properties, Muramoto Audiovisual Philippines, Timex, CWE, MSI, Metro Retail Stores Group Incorporated, Maivan Holdings Incorporated. Okay, for our updates of our upcoming events as this workshop and free webinars, here are all of our social media accounts. It's not being shown, but I think, yeah.
Mag-adjourn pa ko.
Yeah. By the way, sorry, I'm too fast. Let me now turn over to our president for the adjournment, official adjournment.
Hi. Good afternoon once again. Yes, sir, Mark. Good afternoon once again. Before I will formally adjourn, allow me to say thank you also, Attorney JBJ. Of course, Sir Mark, thank you so much. Thank you, Ma'am Pink, and thank you, Ma'am Nels. And of course, thank you to the Avengers working behind the team, si Direk Ann, si Miss O, and also to, of course, to Intellicare, Sir JM. So thank you so much. These people are the power behind every webinar. So Avengers team, thank you so much. And of course, I also want to say thank you to all of you, especially to all the PMAP members, also to our guests. A special shout out also to my Falcon family from Cebu and from the national team. They are all here this afternoon, and also to HRA. So salamat, and I think we're able to cover already everything. With that, I would like to say that this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, what's shown now are our Twitter accounts, Facebook, LinkedIn. So, please get in touch with through any of the contact details. Okay, God bless everyone as we go.
Today we take upon ourselves the challenge of responding to the needs and realize the vision that we've made.
Transforming human capital, reaching out, embracing all that's new. It's the dawn of a boundless age. It is a quest to rise above the rest, empowered by our drive to succeed among the best. Our customers come first, great service all the way. Let PMAP show us how.
Convergence dissolves complexities, initiatives that lead to strengthen paths and build team confidence.
Communication at the core, unlocking all potentials to become the finest that we can be. It is a quest to rise above the rest, empowered by our drive to succeed among the best. Our customers come first, great service all the way. Let people show us how. It is a quest to rise above the rest.